Hey booktube, my name is the Book Mage, welcome back to my channel and to this reading vlog. So a little while ago I posted a video where I talked about my 4 most anticipated books, so not just for this year but just in general, the 4 books that were like the highest on like my list of top priorities, my like level of excitement. And lucky me, 2 of those books happened to release within like about a month of each other. And those books were Small Angels by Lauren Owen and The Cuckoo by Leo Carew. And this one's kind of a monster. I cannot tell you my level of excitement for these 2 books. If you want a better explanation, I guess, of why I'm excited about these, you can go and watch my previous video. But for today, I figured it would be possibly kind of fun if I vlogged the experience of reading these 2, so like a little like weekly type reading vlog. The theme being books I am extremely excited for. So I figure you can come along with me and get my reactions and my opinions, and hopefully everyone involved has a good time. So without much further ado, I think I'm going to get to picking up my first book and finally getting my reading back on track. So if that sounds like your kind of thing, stick with me, and yeah, let's go read some books. Hey, so sorry about my appearance for like this section of the vlog. I actually stepped outside my house today, but I'm going to be starting off reading Small Angels by Lauren Owen. I have been waiting for this book for such a long time. Yeah, Lauren Owen's first book, The Quick, it was just like weirdly one of my favourites. Like I can't pinpoint exactly why, there were just a lot of reasons. Just, it's one of the best vampire books I've read, and it just felt really fresh and different, and part of it was set in Yorkshire. I really loved the way that she did her writing, and I really liked the feel of the book. So I was really thrilled to find out that she's come out with a second book, and so I don't really know what to expect going into this. I know that it's something to do with like a girl or a woman like who's gone to get married, and things feel weird in this village and like in the woods, evil or strange things stirring, not 100% sure, but it just feels like small town sort of like folksy Northern English maybe kind of horror, or maybe just like Englishy kind of British horror in general. I don't know, like gothic horror. Not really sure what to expect exactly, and it's not that long, so I did kind of want to like prioritize this, and I'm going to be checking in. I think I'm going to be doing like non-spoiler updates and just sort of like letting you know how I feel throughout this reading vlog. So yeah, wish me luck. I'm really excited about this. Let's go. Hey, so time for a quick update. I am actually about 300 pages into Small Angels. I feel like it both is and isn't what I expected. Like what it says in the synopsis is actually correct. Like it is a lot to do with like, you know, these woodlands that has like this sort of creepy atmosphere, things from the past waking up and whatnot. That is all correct, but it's much less, like I assumed it would be kind of like sort of like spooky, sinister, maybe slightly gothic feeling, just based on Lauren Owen's other novel, but this is actually much more like quaint rural little English village kind of atmosphere, which like on the one hand is extremely familiar to me. Like I know exactly what this village feels like because I have been to many places that are kind of like this. It's also completely like, I think this is just completely modern day. There's like internet and laptops and Wi-Fi and things, so this is like, I'm guessing this is anywhere from like maybe like 2010 onwards, whereas I thought it would be more like a period thing. Lauren Owen has only written 1 other book, which I have read and loved, and I think that's part of the downfall of this, in that like her writing is still fantastic. Like you can tell that a very clever, well-read person is writing this book, but at the same time I feel like I did a dumb thing setting myself up because she only has 1 other book, The Quick, but I'm obviously never going to like this as much as Victorian vampires. I just really don't think there's any way that I would ever enjoy this as much as her debut novel. That's kind of on me. I did think it would maybe have like some of the similar vibes when it was sort of like all spooky, and it did make it sound gothic, and the cover is quite sort of evocative of that, but at the same time a lot of this is like, I don't know, there's a lot of like wedding planning in here and just like the family stuff, so it's obviously a different vibe, which is fine for this book. I think if I had known exactly what this was, and I wasn't picking this up just because it was like an author buy, I don't think I would have picked this up, because I don't really like reading things that are sort of like modern day. Like I hate being like, oh, so and so doesn't have their phone, or there's no signal in the woods sort of thing. But saying that, I should actually maybe talk a little bit about the book. So I think for people who are not specifically as picky in what they read as me. I do think it's still quite well written. So I feel like I could have this finished in like the next, I don't know, either today or tomorrow. I think once I finished it, I'll definitely give like a better wrap up and synopsis of like exactly what it is and what's going on in this book, and I don't really want to do it at the moment because it just feels like I'm this far away. So if I'm gonna do that at any point in this video, I might as well just do it like at the end rather than now. I definitely would have still picked this up either way. Oh my god, okay, there's children. Right, I have to go to a room where I can't hear children. Okay, I'm gonna go keep reading. Goodbye. Hello, so excuse the appearance, but I have finally finished Small Angels. I think what I was saying in the previous clip was right. Like, I think I was right to be excited about this and to have this in my most anticipated, because I did love Lauren Owen's debut novel, and so I was just really excited to see what else she was going to put out. So I feel like I was right to be excited. However, I also feel like I was right the last time when I said there's just no way I'm going to like this as much as like wintry Dickensian-esque vampires and secret societies and all that. Like, there was just no way. This is my little aside to say, if you like vampires and like, I don't know, Victorian London and like super cold wintry themes and weird upper class secret societies and cults and things, go read the Quick. Just do it. But yeah, back to this book. I think it is seasonal, so I think I'm glad I read it when I did. I think it kind of takes place like at the end of summer, like going into autumn and like the harvest. That's kind of the vibe. The book skips like back and forth in time quite a bit, so you're not necessarily getting just like one like specific set point in time. But the book to me has late summer vibes, so like I feel like September is a fine time to read this book. That said, I get why it's kind of like gothic and whatever, but I don't feel like this is really dark or spooky or gothic. It has that in there, in that there is like a little quaint sort of like rural English village with like this very specific local folklore, and it is like kind of macabre a little bit, but when you think gothic, it's not quite as like over the top as all that, and Lauren Owen's other book was pretty gothic. So, but I will say, I feel like the cover gives me like way more like dark autumnal like gothy vibes than the actual book does. The book feels quite pleasant and summery, and it's very like green, and like it gives me like the vibe of like hazy late summer afternoons. And I feel like I should say, now that I've read it, a bit of what the book is about. So it is following a young woman called Chloe as she comes back to like this, it's her fiance's like hometown. He grew up in like a really small tiny village with like this local folklore that nobody really wants to talk about. They're all kind of like, you know, if we just don't speak about it, don't like just see nothing, say nothing, it's that kind of deal. But obviously she's an outsider, so she's very interested and doesn't take it seriously, and at the same time we're like jumping back and forth in time. There's Chloe's perspective, there's her fiance's sister's perspective, and then there's the perspective of one of the girls from like this local family that are kind of like at the heart of like this folklore, and you kind of follow them back and forth like through the modern day, which I'm guessing is like any time between like 2010 and now. I don't know when this is set, but it's like now. the two younger girls like in their childhood and like how they met and the things that kind of led to how things are now. I don't really want to spoil it, but I will say the actual folklore mystery part of it, like the sort of creepy supernatural part of it, whatever you want to call it, you get told that like really, really early on. So if you don't like books that make you like wait for the payoff of figuring out what's actually going on, this doesn't make you wait. It tells you really soon, and it's more just about like the characters and their decisions and like what they do with this and how things led to like the state things are in at the start of the book, with like this feeling that maybe like the woodland is sort of coming back to life and things are starting up again. That's kind of the vibe. So there is also like a sapphic love story in this, or like a romance in this. Again, because you jump like back and forth through time, so like it's not linear or anything. But again, that's not like, I don't really think that's a spoiler either. It's not like explicitly stated at any point, but it is very, very obvious that like these two women had like this ongoing romance, and that's pretty evident from like a couple chapters in anyway, so again, that's not a spoiler. So if you are looking for sort of like, I don't know, late summer woodland with maybe like very, very mild kind of creepy-ish vibes, it doesn't seem creepy to me. I don't know, there's like family and generational stuff going on, and a sort of like sapphic romance in the background, then maybe pick this one up. I do like Lauren Owen's writing and everything, but ultimately for the purpose of this vlog, where I'm reading my most anticipated books, again, I think I'm probably just gonna give it a 3, just because like it's fine, there's nothing wrong with it, but this book is very much not meant for me. And like, if you told me this was set in like modern day English village, I just would never have picked it up. So that's how I feel about that book. However, you may have seen a small clip in like the last little bit of like my little, what do you call them, like a montage? But the next book I'm going to be reading did in fact arrive. The Cuckoo is here, and oh my gosh, it is a chonker. Look at the size of this, like, hello? This is like almost twice the length of The Wolf, which is like the first book in this series. I feel like this is, it looks about like 700-800 pages. I'm gonna guess like 750 to 800 pages. Oh, she's thick. I really, really want to start reading this now, except that I'm getting ready to go out, which I'm kind of dreading a little bit. I feel like once I start reading this, I'm not going to want to stop. Like, these are such bingeable books and I love them so much, and I'm so hyped for this book. I feel like the end of this vlog is, fingers crossed, going to be a lot more gushy and excitable and positive than the first half of this vlog, which, like, Small Angels was fine, but like The Cuckoo, I am going to be unreachable for days. So honestly, could not have come at a better time as well, because you can probably tell I'm English, and our queen died, so like we get a bank holiday. Not relevant to the vlog, but like already stressed about like the financial state of this country and the fact that we're like about to tip into like another recession, and apparently now we have to spend millions on like a giant funeral and a coronation and a parade and some other shit. So you can probably tell I'm not one for taking part in the pageantry. I will just be sat inside reading my book. It's the best I'm gonna get out of the situation. So yeah, so the next time you see me, I should be picking up The Cuckoo. Oh, and then I'm going to be uncontactable, unreachable for days, hopefully, fingers crossed, while I binge it. So wish me luck in surviving this evening so that I can get back to my books. Okay, so I know I said I was going out, and I am. However, our dinner reservations are not until 9 p.m. It's 3:30. So I'm actually cooking some food at the moment, and I figured I had some time where I'm not doing anything. I'm still kind of like getting ready. I figured I have some time while my food is cooking to at least start this, and I know it will be awful being out at dinner and probably like just wanting to get back to this, but also I want to start it now, so not sure if it's a good idea, but I think I'm gonna start it now. Obviously with this one, it's the 3rd book in a series, and it's pretty big, so I'm not going to be really giving as much detail about this book, I guess. It's one of those where I will try to give like as much as I can, but I won't talk about like any events. Basically, I won't give any sort of book spoilers. So this is kind of like a low fantasy book. This series is set on essentially like a slightly different version of the British Isles. Everything below like modern day Leeds is inhabited by the Southerners, which is basically just human beings, but everything above that is all part of this like other wilder land inhabited by this race of people called the Anakim, and they're like a warrior based kind of society. But basically, at the start of The Wolf, there is a battle about to happen between the Anakim and the Southerners, and right at the start of the book, at this battle, Roper is the son of the Black Lord, which is kind of like the leader of the Anakim. Through some very unfortunate circumstances, Roper is thrust into the role of the Black Lord sort of like well before his time, and the book sort of follows his like coming into power, and there's a lot of like, you know, fighting for respect and politicking and trying to sort of like lead a people. There are a lot of like battle scenes, battle sequences, there's a lot of like warrior characters, and really good. I really like it. It is like multi-perspective as well, so you do see things from the perspective of different Anakim, but also like it's not just Roper, but you also see from the perspective of the Southerners. It's just a really good book series. I found they were so bingeable, and so that's why I've been super anticipating this book. I can't wait to read it, hence why I'm here. I'm gonna take the dust jacket off, because otherwise it's a bit unwieldy. That's better. I could like really get someone with this, you know. So I'm gonna start this. You're gonna watch me. I mean, you could leave, but if you've made it this far, let's see if I end up procrastinating actually going out for a book. My bet is on yes. This book is already so good. It really does pick up right where the last book left off. I just want to stay and read this. And I have to go and make my food and then go out for like a very long night out. So I'm unfortunately gonna have to put this down temporarily, but like just know that every second I'm away from this book, I want to be reading this book. Hello, this clip means that I survived going out last night. Saying that, I'm like 30 something pages in. I'm loving this so far. Like it's one of those where I don't notice when I get to the end of a chapter, like my brain just keeps going. It's really good. It's written so well, and like I love this book. I already love this book. I was so right to put this on my most anticipated. Like, I don't want to get too ahead of myself, because the last time I read like an 800 page most anticipated book, looking at you, Empire of the Vampire, it didn't go as well as it could have done, but like I just feel like this one's gonna be good. So I am sitting in bed in a blanket eating spicy crisps and reading my book, obviously not with the same hands or at the same time. Sit in bed, read, eat hot chip and lie. So I'm hoping the next time I check in I will have something more substantial to say, but I feel like this one is going much better. Hello, so join me in bed for an update. So I am now just over, like, a little over halfway into the book, and it's just so good. It's just so good. With this being the third book in a series, I'm honestly not sure what I could say other than just, like, vaguely gushing. So yeah, I will say, again, this is totally no spoilers, this is gonna be so vague. There was a point while reading this book where I thought to myself, this scenario would be a really good time for, like, this to happen. And sort of like, it would really facilitate this thing happening that could be a reveal later. And that exact thing did happen, and I was right, and the reveal did happen. But the thing is, so many times in books when I can predict something like that, because I feel like sometimes you just know how a book is written, that an event happens for a reason, as opposed to in real life where things just sometimes happen. Do you know what I mean? The way the Cuckoo works, even though I could see this twist, this reveal coming, the reveal itself isn't the important bit or the interesting bit. It's the consequences and everything that happens afterwards. And so it doesn't feel like my brain has cheated me out of like a little fun surprise, because yeah, I saw it coming, but like it's the after effects that are worth the reveal. Like that's the best part. And let me tell you, there were consequences. Oh my god. I will say, because this is, I've just moved on to like part 2 of the book, so if you have read this, you know what I'm talking about. Again, I have a feeling there might be a sneaky reveal about this, but we keep getting further and further into the book. I've been sat reading and I'm like, okay, say psych. Come on, say psych. I'm just gonna have to come to terms with a lot of things at the end of this book. Hey, so I have finished reading The Cuckoo. I really don't know what to say about it other than, I think I posted on Twitter my immediate reaction of, I am going to need 5 to 10 business days to get over this book. I am going to need actual time to process the end of this book, because, no spoilers, but like, it ended. Was this the ending that I was expecting? I don't think so. But when I look at the things that I feel like this feels like, or that this was maybe inspired by in terms of like the tone and the content, I think a lot about like classics, like Greek classics and things, and Norse myth, and when I start thinking of it like that, I feel like this was a really appropriate end. I feel like this is probably like the only way that it really could end. I really wish that anyone else I knew read any of this series. I will say, some of the suspicions I was having earlier, which I'm pretty sure I talked about, it's a blur, honestly. I read this book in like a couple days, which I think it's like 650 pages, which is kind of quick for me right now. My suspicious feelings were confirmed, which I kind of knew. I kind of saw that. Honestly, I'm still processing. I feel like this finale was a finale that like made sense for the series, and obviously it's huge. Like, there was a lot to get through, so much ground to cover, and I think it covered it really well. I think this is a really good series finale, because we all know that I have read several other series where I thought the endings were lackluster. This did not feel lackluster, or like it didn't feel like I was waiting for answers that I didn't get. I definitely got them. So yeah, I don't really know what to rate this exactly. I feel like it has to be a high 4 stars. To be honest, I say this a lot, but if you are new to my channel, but I rate everything based on like personal enjoyment, and I only ever rate books 5 stars if I come away from it feeling like, oh my god, that was a 5-star book. And I don't get that feeling here, but I still think that I think the series as a whole is like a 5-star series. All 3 books together I think is like a 5-star series, and this is definitely one of my favourite fantasy series of all time. I mean, it's very low fantasy. This book was so good. This book was really good. I can't believe it's over. Part of me really does just want to go and like start rereading The Wolf and just like go back to the start. And yeah, like Small Angels wasn't bad, but it wasn't what I wanted. This is what I wanted. I guess that kind of brings this like reading vlog to a close. I don't really have a whole lot else to say other than 50% of the books in this, like, it wasn't even like an experiment, it was just kind of like me being like, hey, 2 of my most anticipated books come out like really close to each other. That would make for a good reading vlog. I mean, concept wise. Execution wise, let's not talk about it, but the concept. The potential, which was not capitalized on. I think I definitely would do something like this again, although fantastic time for my camera to die. But yeah, I think I was saying the other 2 books that I had on like my most anticipated books, just in general, they don't come out till, well, A Day of Fallen Night doesn't come out till next year, and there's no cover or synopsis or release date for A Cure for Living. So I think ultimately this is kind of where this ends, but I feel like this was a pretty good experience. While I wasn't thrilled with Small Angels, like, at least I read it. At least I got to see something else by the author, and that was like my main goal. Like that was just my main interest, was to see something else by an author that had written some, just like one other thing that I liked. And then obviously this series finale, chef's kiss. I feel like I got everything out of this that I wanted to. I say that, I'm still processing the Cuckoo. Like, yeah, maybe I'll do something like this again, but it would depend on me actually being excited for books. So yeah, I don't really know how else to wrap this up, other than I will say, if you're looking for something dark and spooky and seasonal to read, don't do Small Angels. Like, it's fine if you want to. Maybe you really like the concept of the book, but I would say read Lauren Owen's other book, The Quick, which is just like Dickensian feeling, like wintry vampires, secret societies, that sort of thing. Try that. And if you like any sort of fantasy and you haven't read the Under the Northern Sky series by Leo Carew, please pick up The Wolf. It's just so good. Like, I feel like if you read like the first like 50 pages, I feel like you'll be hooked, because it's so good. I would say I haven't seen anyone saying anything like bad about it, but the books are so underrated. Like, they have so few like reads and like reviews on stuff like Goodreads and Amazon. So I don't know why they're so slept on. They're so good. They're executed so well. They're so good. Please give them a try. Anyway, yeah, I feel like that's a good place to end the vlog, with some positivity. So I'm going to go. I don't know what my next book is going to be. I'm going to be doing my October TBR, which, risky move. So I guess my next read will be something either spooky or autumnal, or maybe dipping into horror, who knows. So thank you so much for watching. Please read The Wolf. I hopefully you found this entertaining, and I guess I will see you guys in the next video. Bye!